I really like this hat. I really like this hat, by the way. Bought this hat back in 2000, man. Shoot. 9, 10, I don't know. Somewhere around there. Support troops. Blah, blah, blah. All that. You can see it all up there. Yeah. Great stuff. Cool stuff. So, check it out. I'm just jumping right into this thing. Family, you know who it is. Alright, Warrior of Christ ATL. Here with my family, my warrior family. I do consider you guys family. We are warriors, alright? What do warriors do? We fight. So, we fight together. We're warriors, we're family. Alright? Yes, family squabble, we fight with each other, but we also fight for each other. And that's the most important part. Alright? We fight for each other. So, peep game. I am in the United States Army. I have been in the United States Army, right, for over a decade now. Over a decade. I've been active duty for over a decade. And I will tell you with 100% certainty that my job is to serve you, the people of the United States. Okay, now I am an NCO, which is a non-commissioned officer, and in the Army we have what are called commissioned officers, we have warrant officers, we have non-commissioned officers, and then we have basically what we call the junior listed guys. All right, so the NCOs, non-commissioned officers, we're known as the backbone of the Army. Because basically of our position, our roles, nothing happens without us. Nothing happens without us. We train everybody. We train the privates, we train the NCOs, we train the O's, we train everybody. Our job is to be there to make sure crap happens. That's what we do. We make it happen. Alright, we make it happen. We are the, if I can put it in this way, we're the daddies of the military. The NCOs are. We're dad. Alright, so with that all being said, we serve the people of the United States. It doesn't matter if it's a private, if it's a sergeant major, a chief warrant officer, a warrant officer, a lieutenant, or a general. None of that matters. All of our roles are the same. It's to serve you, the people. Okay? Now, we all fall under this umbrella called federal employees, right? So we're federal employees. Federal employees, regardless of your position, whether you are a private, a general, a colonel, for those of you who aren't so familiar, you've heard of certain ranks and not others, or you are a congressman, a senator, a president, speaker of the house, it doesn't matter. A paramedic, a sheriff, it doesn't matter. You, at the end of the day, you are officially a public servant. That's what you are. You are a public servant. Anybody who wears the uniform that I wear, wore, or will wear, you are a public servant. If you are a police officer, past, present, future, I have family. Crap, one of my cousins was freaking chief of police. Public servant. EMTs, doctors, you're a public servant. You are a public servant, which means we work for you. We are not your boss. A soldier is not your boss. A congressman is not your boss. A police officer is not your boss. POTUS, President of the United States is not your boss. And I hate to say it this way, but I'm going to say it this way. You people need to understand that. We are not your boss. We, public servants, work for you. You guys are the boss. You guys elect who goes in and out of office. That's your job anyway. All right. So we have people who fight, and we know you can hear this whole thing about voting, and there's so many different things, and unfortunately there's manipulations here. There's always going to be manipulations. Don't allow negative things to prevent you from doing your duty, your responsibility, your obligation to go out there and vote, to go out there and protest, to go out there and fight for your right as a human being. Now, I'm going to say something that's going to upset some people, but it's a fact, and because it's a fact, I can't really care. I do, but I can't. And that is, when this country started, it wasn't started with every human being in mind. As a matter of fact, they didn't give two craps about every human. Didn't. A person that looked like me wasn't even considered a human. Women were considered half a human, parts human. So people like me were considered property. It was meant, when it started all out, even though it said all people are created equal, unfortunately, all human beings weren't viewed as people. Now, we fast forward to today, and we get past certain idiotic, moronic, stupid mindsets and immature mindsets and sad and sick and deranged mindsets. Okay? And we get to where we are today. And today, we are able to do many things that we weren't able to do before. So I had a good friend of mine who I considered a brother. White guy. We went to middle school together. We went to high school together. I won't tell you his name. Not big on telling people's names. All right? Especially since I haven't spoken to him, so I don't have his permission, so I'm not going to use his name. However, and sorry for the youngsters, it's they're out of school. But his family fought in the military. All right? My family fought in the military. I don't even know what generation I'm in as far as fighting in the military or being a public servant. Okay? But what I can tell you is, when it was all said and done, and those wars were over and those wars were fought and certain rights were given to American citizens, they were not given to my ancestors. Okay? My ancestors had to either get beat, get arrested, die, be belittled, or any other thing, or many other things I should say, for the ability to ride on a stinking bus, to drink water. Where's my water at? To drink water from the same fountain as my good buddy that I went in middle school with and went to high school with. And it's, today we look at it as nothing. But the thing is, in order for it to be nothing, we have to abolish that garbage and redo certain things. Okay, and that's the purpose of this video here. We have to correct the wrongs, and we don't correct the wrongs by not speaking on it, right? We don't say stuff like, oh, well, they're just making excuses. No, they're not making excuses. And you should be ashamed of yourself if you feel like someone who's complaining is complaining because of how they feel. Their feelings are their feelings, and they are entitled to those feelings. Now, I was listening to, most people know this guy, Dr. King, and he said something about, well, we're being told that we need to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps and, so on and so forth. But the thing is, we weren't given boots in order for us to even pull up our bootstraps, right? The government gave aid and assistance to, let's be frank here, white people, in order for them to be able to come to this country and to establish themselves. And I'll leave that part alone, but they were given certain subsidies in order to sustain themselves, right? We weren't given those things. We just weren't. We were brought here, we worked for free, right? And then for others to succeed. And then when we were quote unquote freed, which I won't go there either, but anyway, I won't go there either, but when we were quote unquote freed, we still weren't given the same as those individuals who we weren't given the same amenities. There we go. We weren't given the same amenities. We were given pennies on the dollars, if that. We were allowed, which is a shame. We're cooking and allowed to eat the scraps or take the scraps to our family, or we make the food, or we make the clothing, or we make whatever we make, and then we're allowed to give our give others hand-me-downs, and it's a lot going on. There's a lot to it that was not shared and it hasn't been shared. I was sharing a couple of things on Instagram, and there was a young man, white guy, who was like, it's a shame that I went through my whole entire school, all 12 years of school, 13 years of school, and I never heard half of what I'm hearing right now, which is a bit despicable. There is a situation where I found out years ago where they changed it in the school books to where they were saying that, they're teaching the youngsters that the blacks and whites came from Africa here on ships together in order to make America better. Well, no, that's not quite how you had it. And then they show pictures, and they're trying, in certain ways, trying to distort the facts. Now, we don't want to repeat history, right? But if you don't teach history, history shows you will repeat it. So we have to get past this stuff, and the way we get past this stuff is by having real conversations, okay? And if it's hard to have a passionate conversation without allowing emotions to rear its head. However, the conversation still have to be had. They still have to be changed. I want to say this one thing, and I apologize to anyone who does not like this video because of the sensitivity of it all. And I typically don't go here, and truthfully I probably won't ever again. Hopefully I won't have to. But a lot of people talk about, you know, like well, you know, Chicago, or, you know, black people are killing black people in Chicago, black people killing black people in Chicago, and Chicago, like Chicago is the only place in the world where black people are killing black people. First off, I personally get tired of hearing about the whole Chicago thing. I think it's horse crap. You know, I was telling a brother of mine, I consider him a brother, that I personally don't believe in a lot of statistics that are out there. And one thing that I have learned over the past few weeks is that I'm right not to believe the statistics, because the statistics are meant, and by statistics I mean with anything, are made to make things look a certain way. So if I want to control it, okay, here's an example. If I want the Republicans to control the Senate, then you get your seats by how many people live here. But what you do is, and sorry if this is confusing, it's just the best and fastest way I can explain it, is you don't get rid of the Democrats and the Republicans. What you do is you switch them around, right? So you have the same number of people, but how you divide them dictates the scenario, the outcome. It's manipulation. And unfortunately, I have it in my head, but I can't think of what it's called. It's called something. I don't think it's Hamilton's theory, and maybe it is Hamilton's theory. It's something like that. But basically what you do is that you manipulate the statistics to how you want it to come out without the common person realizing what's going on. So no, I don't believe in the statistics about a lot of things, you know. I don't believe in this whole well, I leave that alone because that'll start a whole nother thing, and I'm not trying to make this any longer than it's going to be. Alright, so I'm saying all this to say, as far as like with the statistics, be careful with that. Be careful, you know, with what you hear. Honestly, even be careful with what you read. Try to understand why it's saying what it's saying, not just what it's saying, you know. But I was telling my brother, again, who I consider still my brother, hopefully he's still watching this bad boy at this point, for black people in particular, for black people don't look at just Chicago. Unfortunately, there are certain people who are only looking at Chicago, or they're only looking at the past 10 years, where you have black people as a whole who they laugh at this whole Chicago thing, which, again, we're talking about statistics here, which that's I'm leery of certain things. I'm not saying that black people don't kill black people, because black people do kill black people. Black people kill black people out of retaliation for killing other black people. I know this for certain. I know it for certain, and I'm just going to leave it at that. If you kill my brother, I don't care what color you are, I'm going to kill you and your brother or your whomever. That's how that goes. This is from someone who lived in a certain area and saw certain things happen, which kind of sort of quantifies me to be able to speak on certain things. I said in another video, if you don't have the experience, you should probably be quiet or be careful with what you're saying. You know, just because you hung around certain people doesn't give you, you know, necessarily that oomph you need to say certain things, because at the end of the day, you don't know. You're relying on second, third hand information. Anyway, all that being said, we must educate ourselves. We must educate ourselves. If you're one of those analytical guys, you like getting into the numbers and this, that, and the other, try to figure out how sincere and genuine and pure those numbers really are. Try to figure out what the real story is. Don't get caught up in one side of a story just because you like, I'll say his name because he's a public figure. Just because you like a Glenn Beck doesn't mean only listen to Glenn Beck. I'm not a fan of Glenn Beck, not even a little bit. However, I have watched Glenn Beck, and there's some times that I actually like. Weird, I liked what he was saying, and I actually enjoyed him. I learned some things from him, but you have to be able to do that. You have to be able to listen to a George Stephanopoulos or whatever that dude's, whatever his name is. I'm not going to disrespect his family's name like that, but you know who I'm talking about. You have to be able to listen to him, and then you have to be able to listen to a Don Lemon. You have to be able to listen to a Tupac, and you have to be able to listen to a what is that dude's name? A Rush Limbaugh. That's not who I was thinking about. But my point is, you have to be able to listen to multiple sides in order to get a better picture of the situation. You know, and then if you have someone who has never tried to listen to the other side, never tried to have a discussion with the other side, then you're doing yourself an injustice, and you are part of the problem. You know, if you're stuck on this whole mainstream, everything's mainstream or trying to be mainstream. So get off of that kick. Just let that go. You know, just let that go. Get past that and actually look at the issue. To me, this whole excuse about mainstream is trying to control you and manipulate your mind, blah, 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 rah, 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 rah. To me, it's equivalent to all white guys are pedophiles and all black guys are stinking thieves. That's a lie. Period. It's a lie. You know, you got to peel the skin back and judge the person for that person. You know, so yeah, Fox News may say something that you dislike. Okay, they're going to. That's what they get paid to do. They get paid to say something you don't like. But they also get paid to say something that somebody else likes. So you educate yourself by watching those people. Just like you educate yourself by watching CNN, and you educate yourself by watching MSNBC and C-SPAN and all of these other things. And one last thing, I'm sorry, I wish I would have said this earlier because it's probably like 2 or 3 of you guys watching at this point. Guys, you are the boss. You are the boss. You're the ones who are in charge. If you want somebody to do something that you want them to do, what does the boss do? You either have them do what you want them to do because you're the boss, or you fire them. Guys, you guys are the reason. You guys are the reason that we got senators that have been in the Senate for stinking 40-something years. There's no reason to have a 70-something-year-old president. There's no reason to have a 80-year-old senator. It's not. It's not. So, but you guys have to put people in there that's going to do what you want. Alright, sorry about that. Had a little snafu. But real quick, guys, you have to hire and fire and hire the people that you want into these offices, into these positions, and don't get stuck on just the president only. Okay, I'll leave that situation alone, but don't get stuck on just the president only. There's so many more people that you guys need to go out and vote for. Learn about who's actually controlling your house, who's controlling the Senate, guys, there's so many more people out there. There's so much, in my opinion, much more important than the stinking president of the United States, regardless of who that person is. All right? There's so many more people that you guys need to educate yourself on. There's so many more elections out there. Elections aren't just for once every 4 years. For those who don't know this, okay? The ones that happen every stinking 2 years and, you know, so on and so forth, those are the ones that matter the most, because those are your lawmakers, guys. Those are the ones who calling the shots for real. Those are the ones who control us. Those are the ones who control, in essence, you, because they're making your laws. So you don't like what they're doing, you go and you fire them. And you put somebody in there, get that whole drain the swamp garbage, blah, blah, blah. That's baloney. You are the one who can drain the swamp. Let the other mess go, guys. You guys call the shots. You guys are the boss. You don't like what these people are doing, you fire them. You put somebody else in there. That's how that works. Get off this other baloney. Just let it go. Don't worry about whether they are stinking Democrat or Republican, or, in my opinion, so disrespectful. But you knuckleheads, including myself, because I'm a knucklehead too, we get caught up in this liberal conservative garbage. You are a stinking human being. You are just as liberal as the next person. You are just as conservative as the next person. Let that garbage go. That mess don't mean nothing. If that's why you're voting for a person, you are wrong. You are wrong. You are wrong. And you are part of the systematic issue. Okay? Judge a person by their fruit. Judge them by their character. Bump their race. Bump their political affiliation. Judge them off of them. And then if they don't keep their word, what does that make them? A liar. And what do you need to do, boss? You need to fire them, and you need to put somebody else in there and keep firing them until you get somebody in there who's going to do what they need to do. We keep re-electing these people over and over and over and over again, and then they shift the blame on one person. We're POTUS. It doesn't matter if it's President Bush, President Baby Bush, President Clinton, President Reagan, President Obama. It doesn't matter who it is. President Trump. The blame gets put on these guys just like the credit gets on these guys. But they're not the ones doing it, guys. Sometimes. Quite often. Quite often it's the other people that we don't see, it's the other people we don't think about. So get out there and vote more than just once every 4 years. Go out there and protest more than just when someone gets shot. You know, don't worry about race. Don't worry about political affiliation. Stand up for what you believe is right. And if you know something doesn't sound right, and if you disagree with it, be mature enough to sit there and have a conversation. And stop being stuck on your one side. Actually listen to what somebody else is saying and take it as food for thought, and actually see, well, okay, well, maybe that makes sense. Let's try it this way and let's see what happens. You know, your way isn't the only way. Their way isn't the only way. You guys we together can come up with much better solutions to situations. Okay? We in the Army, we work together all the time. We gripe and complain about other people in the Army. We gripe and complain about other branches. But when it's all said and done, we all work together. And the nation's supposed to be the same way. We have people from different backgrounds in the military. Different party affiliations and things like that. But when it's all said and done, we work together. And that's the same thing we need to do in this country. We need to work together. That's all I got for you guys. I would apologize for the rant, but it is what it is at this point. Thank you very much for your time. Till next time, warrior salute. Peace.